Strange coincidences, unexplainable bad luck, and sudden negative shifts in your relationships might not be random at all. Instead, they could be carefully planned attacks by someone practicing witchcraft against you. When these patterns keep showing up repeatedly in your life, they demand your full attention. Ignoring them could cost you your peace, your relationships, and even your success. The harsh truth is that witchcraft still exists in our modern world, although it often hides under different names and practices. I'm going to reveal 5 unmistakable signs that someone might be using witchcraft against you. Signs most people overlook until it's too late. This knowledge will empower you to spot these attacks early and protect yourself effectively. Before we get into these crucial signs, it's important to understand that this information might completely change how you see certain situations and people around you. That's why it's vital not to skip any part of this explanation. If you're short on time, try watching at 1.5x or 2x speed, because the full context is essential for your defense. Once time is lost, it can never be regained. And the same goes for chances to defend yourself from these hidden attacks. Are you ready to uncover the 5 clear signs that someone could be doing witchcraft against you? Let's expose these secret assaults together. When we mention witchcraft today, we're not talking about people flying on broomsticks or brewing potions in cauldrons. Modern witchcraft is far sneakier. Kind of like that one friend who conveniently forgets to pay you back, but never forgets when you owe them money. Jokes aside, this is serious business. The first sign that someone might be doing witchcraft on you is the emergence of unexplainable negative patterns that simply don't add up. Everyone has bad days. For instance, spilling coffee on your shirt, missing the bus, and then getting yelled at by your boss. That's just life. But when these kinds of things happen week after week, targeting the same parts of your life over and over, that's when your intuition should start ringing alarm bells. What sets these patterns apart from normal bad luck is that they attack specific areas of your life that were previously going well. Maybe you've always been healthy, but suddenly you're getting sick every other week. Maybe your business was thriving, but now clients are canceling for the oddest reasons. Or perhaps your usually happy relationship is now full of fights that start out of nowhere. The key to watch for is the sudden onset of multiple problems hitting all at once. It's like your life was a smoothly running car, and overnight someone poured sugar in your gas tank, slashed your tires, and stole your steering wheel all at the same time. When 3 or 4 different parts of your life crash simultaneously without any logical explanation, that's no coincidence. That's the first clear sign of witchcraft. These patterns often show up in very specific ways. You might notice that every time you're about to sign a new client, your computer crashes, or your phone dies, or your internet cuts out. Or every time you plan a romantic evening, something always ruins it at the last minute. These aren't random incidents. They're orchestrated attacks designed to block your success and happiness. So how do you tell the difference between normal life challenges and supernatural interference? Regular problems have logical causes and effects. Your car broke down because you didn't change the oil. You got sick because everyone in your office had the flu. But with witchcraft, the timing is just too perfect, the coincidence too frequent, and the explanations too weak. Here's a practical step you can take. Start a journal. Write down when these strange patterns happen. What was going on in your life right before? Who was involved? And what you were about to accomplish? Patterns will start to emerge when you track these events. You might discover that these random bad events always happen after interacting with a specific person or when you're about to reach a certain goal. Remember, this is only the first of 5 signs someone might be practicing witchcraft against you. By itself, it might not be conclusive, but combined with the other signs we're about to discuss, you'll get a much clearer picture. And knowing is half the battle. Just like knowing that eating an entire pizza by yourself is a bad idea, though we sometimes do it anyway. Unlike pizza regret, witchcraft is something you definitely want to identify early. The second sign that witchcraft might be targeting you is unusual physical and emotional symptoms that don't make medical sense. I remember speaking with a woman, let's call her Linda, who had always been energetic and positive. She ran her own business, was the life of every gathering, and rarely even caught a cold. But then something changed. Suddenly, Linda started experiencing crushing fatigue that knocked her out by 2 p.m. every day. Her doctor ran every test imaginable, blood work, thyroid panels, sleep studies, and everything came back normal. Yet she could barely get out of bed most mornings. What stuck with me the most was how she described it. She said it didn't feel like normal tiredness, but like something was literally draining her energy, like a battery being drained. Her words still give me chills because they're so common among people experiencing this second sign. These symptoms aren't just physical. Linda also started having emotional changes that frightened her friends and family. Random bouts of depression would hit her like waves, coming out of nowhere and disappearing just as mysteriously. Anxiety would grip her throat when she entered certain rooms in her house or was around specific people. Most disturbing were the nightmares, vivid, recurring dreams where she felt paralyzed while shadowy figures moved around her bed. What sets these symptoms apart from normal health issues is their resistance to treatment. Antidepressants don't touch the depression. Sleep aids don't stop the nightmares. Energy drinks and coffee don't reduce the fatigue. It's as if the symptoms aren't coming from inside her body, but from an external source. Throughout history, unexplainable symptoms like these have been documented in suspected witchcraft cases. In 17th century Europe, records describe similar patterns. Today, we often dismiss them as stress or psychosomatic problems. But your body knows better. It's telling you something is wrong. These attacks typically focus on your most vulnerable areas. If you're an artist, your creativity suddenly disappears. If you're an athlete, mysterious injuries pop up. If you're a social person, crippling social anxiety develops out of nowhere. Witchcraft targets what makes you uniquely you and tries to disrupt it. If you're experiencing these symptoms, start documenting them immediately. Track when they occur, their intensity, who you were with, and where you were. Look for patterns. Do they worsen after meeting certain people? Do they improve when you're in specific places? This documentation can reveal connections you might otherwise miss. What finally helped Linda realize what was happening was that her symptoms completely disappeared when she visited her sister in another state, only to return within hours of coming home. They got worse after meetings with a jealous colleague. Once she connected the dots, she was able to take steps to protect herself. These unexplained physical and emotional symptoms are the second major sign that witchcraft might be directed at you. Combined with the first sign of negative patterns, they form a clearer picture of intentional spiritual attack rather than random misfortune. Now, the third sign might be hiding in plain sight in your own home. The third sign that someone might be doing witchcraft on you is discovering strange objects or unusual arrangements in your home or workplace. This is fascinating because it's literally physical evidence of spiritual warfare, like finding the smoking gun at a crime scene. I'm not talking about finding your roommate's weird collection of garden gnomes, though to be honest, those things have always creeped me out a little. What I mean are objects deliberately placed to act as anchors or conduits for negative energy being directed at you. In modern witchcraft, practitioners often use everyday items that won't raise suspicion. A small bundle of herbs tied with a red string, a jar filled with pins, nails, or personal items like hair or fingernail clippings, small pouches of powder tucked into corners or under furniture, coins or stones arranged in specific patterns, or even perfectly ordinary objects that just seem off. Like finding all your family photos suddenly turned upside down or facing the wall. These objects are usually hidden in places you frequently occupy or pass through. Doorways and thresholds hold particular significance. The front door, bedroom door, or even your office entrance. Other common hiding spots include under your bed, inside your mattress, in houseplants, above door frames, basement corners, or even inside your car. When you find these items, they're often meant to serve as focal points to direct or amplify negative energy against you. Noticing these physical signs is crucial because they give you concrete proof that something more than bad luck is happening. If you're discovering strange objects or odd arrangements in places you know well, pay close attention. Take photos, document where and when you found them, and consider whether anyone in your life might have motive or knowledge of these items. These discoveries, combined with the previous two signs, unexplained negative life patterns and strange physical or emotional symptoms, paint a powerful picture of intentional interference. Keep these in mind as we move forward, because the next signs are just as revealing. Personal items hold especially strong power as targets. Check your clothing carefully, particularly pieces you wear frequently. Look inside your jewelry box, especially for items that suddenly make you feel uneasy or that you've inexplicably stopped wanting to wear. Even everyday things like your toothbrush or hairbrush could be tampered with. Anything that has a direct connection to your body or your energy field. Now, this is where I need you to pay very close attention. If you do find something suspicious, do not touch it with your bare hands. Seriously, avoid handling these things directly. Use gloves or tongs to remove them, and be sure not to bring them close to your face or body. These objects can be charged with negative energy, which can transfer to you through direct contact. The link between physical objects and energetic attachments is very real. Think of these items as physical anchors holding spiritual intentions in place. Just like your cell phone picks up invisible signals from cell towers, these objects capture and amplify the negative intentions aimed at you. What's truly surprising is how innocent-looking these items can appear. A small gift from someone you barely know that suddenly gives you an uneasy feeling. A strange ornament that mysteriously appears on your desk with no explanation. Even something as simple as a penny placed heads or tails up in a specific spot can be significant. And listen, if you've made it this far, you're clearly serious about protecting yourself and recognizing these signs, and that deserves respect. If you're finding this information valuable, do yourself a favor and smash that subscribe button right now. Why? Because we regularly share this kind of vital protective knowledge that you simply won't find in mainstream sources. Plus, the algorithm will love you for it, and so will I. Remember, identifying this third sign, strange objects or unusual arrangements, is critical because it provides tangible evidence that someone is deliberately targeting you. Combined with the first two signs we've discussed, you're now armed with even more knowledge to defend yourself. And knowledge, my friend, is the most powerful protection of all. The fourth sign that someone might be doing witchcraft against you is dramatic and unexplainable changes in your social circle and relationships. This sign hits deep because it attacks the very core of what makes us human, our connections to others. When witchcraft targets your relationships, it doesn't just damage one connection. It often sets off a domino effect that can leave you feeling isolated and confused. These aren't typical relationship problems that develop slowly over time. They're sudden, intense shifts that seem to come from nowhere. Think about that friend you've had for years, the one who knew all your secrets and always had your back. Imagine them suddenly becoming distant, cancelling plans repeatedly, or even spreading rumors behind your back. When you try to talk to them about it, they can't explain why they feel differently toward you. They just do. Something has shifted and neither of you can figure out what or why. This kind of unexplainable hostility from people who were once friendly is a classic sign of interference. It's as if someone has planted negative thoughts about you in their minds. Your once warm relationship suddenly freeze over. People who used to smile when they saw you now avoid eye contact or find excuses to keep their distance. Even more telling is when miscommunications and misunderstandings multiply without reason. Messages fail to arrive, emails get lost, your words get twisted and repeated back to you in distorted ways. You leave a perfectly normal voicemail, but the person receiving it somehow hears something completely different. It's like they're static, scrambling all your communications, creating confusion. This pattern of interference often leads to isolation. One by one, your support network crumbles. Invitations stop coming. Group chats go silent when you enter. Eventually, you might find yourself alone, cut off from the very people who could help you recognize what's going on. And that's exactly the point. Isolation makes you vulnerable and easier to manipulate or control. The manipulation of relationships through supernatural means has been documented across cultures and throughout history. In many traditional societies, this was considered one of the most dangerous forms of witchcraft because it destroys the community bonds that keep us safe and supported. Some common tactics used to create division include planting seeds of doubt about your character, stirring up jealousy or competition, reviving old conflicts that had been resolved, or even fabricating entire scenarios that never actually happened but that people somehow believe they experience with you. The emotions this causes are devastating. You might feel deep betrayal, confusion, or even begin questioning your own memory and perception of events. Did your friend really say that hurtful thing about you? Why would they? Did you actually do something wrong that you just can't remember? This kind of self-doubt is psychologically harmful and spiritually draining. To strengthen your relationships against these negative influences, maintain open communication as much as possible. Document strange interactions. Trust your instincts about sudden changes in people's behavior toward you. And when possible, meet in person rather than relying on electronic communication. Face-to-face interactions are much harder to interfere with. Most importantly, remember that people under this kind of influence aren't acting from their true selves. The anger, suspicion, or dislike they express toward you isn't coming from their hearts. It's been planted there. When you realize this, it becomes easier to respond with compassion rather than reactive hurt, which only deepens the divide. This fourth sign, changes in your social circle and relationships, is particularly painful because it attacks our fundamental need for connection. Combined with the first three signs, it forms a powerful indicator that something unnatural is affecting your life. Now, as we approach the fifth and final sign, keep in mind that awareness is the first step toward protection. The fifth and final sign that someone might be doing witchcraft against you is experiencing intuitive warnings and spiritual disturbances. This sign is perhaps the most subtle, but also the most powerful, because it taps into your own innate protective systems that often detect threats long before your conscious mind can process them. Take a moment to reflect on a time when you had a gut feeling about something or someone. Maybe you decided not to take a certain route home one night for no logical reason, only to find out later there had been an incident there. Or perhaps you felt an inexplicable unease about a charming new person everyone else seemed to like. Our intuition often speaks in these quiet, subtle ways, and when it comes to spiritual attacks, these whispers become especially important. What intuitive warnings might you be experiencing right now? Do you feel a persistent sense of being watched when no one is around? Do you suddenly feel uncomfortable in places that used to feel safe? Are there specific people who immediately drain your energy when they enter a room, even though they haven't done anything objectively threatening? These intuitive warnings often show up physically. Your stomach might tighten around certain people. You might get goosebumps in particular areas of your home for no clear reason. Your breath might become shallow, or you could feel pressure on your chest in certain situations. These physical reactions are your body's alarm system, alerting you to dangers your conscious mind hasn't yet understood. Consider your dreams lately. Have they changed? Recurring nightmares? Dreams of being chased or attacked? Or dreams where familiar people appear distorted or threatening can all be signs that your subconscious is trying to tell you something is wrong. Your dream state often detects energy disturbances your waking mind filters out. Many people who later confirmed they were targets of witchcraft initially dismissed these intuitive warnings. I thought I was just being paranoid, they say, but paranoia is generalized fear without specific triggers, while intuitive warnings are specific and consistent. Understanding this difference can be life-changing. You might also notice changes in your spiritual practices or connection. If you once found peace in meditation, prayer, or other spiritual rituals, you might suddenly face blocks or disturbances. Your once clear connection feels static or filled with interference. Your prayers feel like they're hitting a ceiling. Your meditation is interrupted by intrusive thoughts or unease. These subtle spiritual disturbances are often overlooked because we tend to blame stress, lack of focus, or simply having an off day. But in the context of the other signs, they may be an important alert to something more serious. Keeping all 5 of these signs in mind can help you recognize when someone might be targeting you with witchcraft. Awareness is your first and best defense. But when these feelings persist and combine with the other signs we've discussed, they become vital pieces of the puzzle. They often serve as your first line of defense, early warning systems designed to alert you before serious harm occurs. So, how can you strengthen these intuitive abilities and reinforce your spiritual boundaries? Start simply by acknowledging and honoring your intuitive impressions. Write them down, track any recurring patterns. Don't rush to dismiss uncomfortable feelings as irrational. Instead, ask yourself what they might be trying to communicate. As you reflect on everything we've covered, unexplainable negative patterns, unusual physical and emotional symptoms, strange objects or arrangements, changes in your social circle, and now these intuitive warnings, consider how many of these signs might be present in your life right now. One sign alone might not necessarily indicate witchcraft, but when multiple signs appear together, the overall picture becomes much clearer. Your intuition is a precious gift, a personal guidance system that helps you navigate both physical and spiritual realms. Rather than fearing these intuitive messages, welcome them as valuable information. They don't make you weak or paranoid, they make you aware and empowered. Awareness is the very first and most powerful step toward your protection. Now that you understand the 5 signs that someone might be doing witchcraft on you, you're armed with knowledge that most people never receive. As mentioned earlier, awareness itself serves as your first line of defense. Simply recognizing these signs disrupts the influence of hidden attacks. When you know what's happening, you can take action instead of remaining a passive target. Remember, cleansing your space is essential. Salt barriers placed at entryways, burning sage or Palo Santo, or using sound cleansing tools like bells can all help clear negative energies from your home and workplace. Protection practices are just as important. Carry protective stones such as black tourmaline or obsidian. Strengthen your personal energy through regular grounding exercises. Visualize a shield of light surrounding you before stepping into challenging environments. These aren't mere superstitions, they are ancient practices that have helped people safeguard themselves for centuries. After watching this video, you have a choice to make. You can ignore these signs and continue suffering in silence, pretending everything is fine, even as your life spirals downward. Or you can take control of your spiritual well-being and reclaim your personal power. The difference between these choices is literally the difference between being a victim and being a victor. For more in-depth guidance on protection techniques, the YouTube algorithm has already selected the perfect next video for you. You'll see it appearing on your screen now. Click on it immediately to continue your protection journey. Your future self will thank you for taking this crucial next step in securing your spiritual well-being.